Well, welcome to the Common Room in Newcastle for the kick-off press conference in Fight Week for Josh Kelly versus Troy Williamson, a super-welterweight title clash at the British level, joined by Nissa Sowland as we top off the Undercard press conference about to get underway. Nissa, it's a huge fight. We'll speak about the Josh Kelly-Troy Williamson fight shortly. Let's get straight into the Undercard. It's topped huge bill. Lyndon fighting up there. Talk to me a little bit. Joel McIntyre, Lyndon, what a fight to kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, it's another step in the way for Lyndon's comeback. I don't think it's an easy fight. It's a good domestic fight, and it'll kick off the show on Channel 5 on Friday night. And you know, Lyndon has to overcome this. We've got big plans for him next year. You know, there's the British title against Dan Aziz. There's the IBO title against Padraig McCrory. Lots of options there. But first, he has to win on Friday.
A lot of talk around British title fights at the moment. We had Nathan Gorman last week. This week we've got Josh Kelly. The British title is such a sought after title. Is Lyndon at the sort of level, do you think, if he wins this fight? We know he's been at the top stage before. We know that he can compete under those lights. If he gets the win this Friday, is that the sort of level he can look at for 2023?
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's even a better level than that. You know, he's beaten Anthony Yard. Obviously, he lost on the return fight, but I think his level is world class. I think British title early next year, and then push on for a world title. That's the plan. And like you say, you know, we had Gorman last week. Now we got Josh Kelly, and I've said this many a times before. I think the British title is one of the biggest titles out there. Sometimes the fights are bigger than the European title, and some of the fringe world titles you get thrown at you sometimes as well.
It does always seem to deliver. The top of the bill, Josh Kelly fighting against Troy Williamson for that British title. A lot made of that fight. We saw the initial press conference when the campaign kicked off. Initially, a lot of people saying Troy Williamson, he's the bigger man. When they got face to face, there wasn't that much of a size difference. Just break down a little bit, if you would, Troy Williamson versus Josh Kelly for the super-welterweight British title clash.
I mean, I've got a serious game of ping pong in my brain at the moment about what the result's going to be. It's a true 50-50 fight. If you look at the bookies, it's you know, it's basically the same odds for both of them. I am going with a Josh Kelly victory. Obviously, he's my guy. I could see him stopping him mid to late rounds, but at the same time, Troy has got a serious engine on him. Great heart, but yeah, like you say, the size difference didn't look that crazy. But when you saw him on the show that we did in September, and you thought that Troy was weighing in at super middleweight for that show, and he looked lean already. Yeah. So where does that weight go off? That's my question.
Talk to me a little bit about what this fight means to the Northeast. I mean, we spoke about it loads in the build-up about how it's a huge derby. There's different sides of the town, if you like, both supporting their man. But now we're here. Now we're in Newcastle, and people are speaking about it everywhere you go. What does it mean to have this kind of fight in this kind of city?
I think Newcastle's a big boxing town anyway. You can see with the amount of guys fighting on the card, all from the Northeast, shifting a load of tickets. It's going to be a great crowd in there, and I'd say about a 50-50 crowd for Williamson Kelly. So it's a divided Northeast, which makes it even better, more exciting spectacle for us to watch. Again, I can't pull them apart. If you put a gun to my head, I'd pick Kelly. But it's going to be a great fight.
We saw the two go face-to-face earlier this week. That video went live of the two sort of talking to each other with no other cameras except the one down the middle with Anthony Crolla in the middle. Neither one of them really wanted to give anything away. Neither one of them really wanted to take a backward step. And Troy said, I'm going to take you to deep waters. Is that what Troy brings to the table, that resilience of whatever you try and do, I'm going to keep coming and I'm going to pull you into my game on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely look. He's gone the distance, and you know, it's given a lot of guys trouble. But at the same time, Josh has only lost to David Avanesian, who's probably one of the best welterweights out there. He fought him at a time when no one dared to fight him. Avanesian has had to go to America to fight Crawford. So, you know, I think there's a lot left in Josh Kelly and a lot left in his mindset. I don't think he was in the right frame of mind for that fight, and I found it very interesting what he was saying at the press conference about his mental health around that fight. Talking about how he was drinking to put himself to sleep because he couldn't sleep. All this kind of stuff, thinking he was getting sick. That's not a good place to be in when you're getting into the ring. But I think just talking about that has actually proved a point that he's over that. And it's a brave thing to do. And I think that maybe he's exercised some demons and he's coming in here with a clear head. And hopefully, I'm obviously picking my guy. Live on Channel 5 on Friday night. Can't wait.
He's almost, by addressing that so openly, by bringing it up so openly, and openly saying
it's a brave thing to do.
It is a brave thing, but saying that he sought help, saying that it was a problem, he's almost taken the card away from Troy. Troy can't throw that at him now because he's taken that away from him.
Exactly. And these days people are open with their mental health, especially in boxing, which I think is great. And fighters, they are. For me, they're the best sportsmen out there. But if they can talk about their mental health, it takes a lot of taboo away from it from us mere normal people. And the fact that he spoke about it so openly up on stage in front of all the press of the UK, that's a big thing to do. And it's almost a form of psychotherapy there.
It's almost as if people bring up, can Josh keep it together in fight week? Is his head good? But the fact that he's done that, speaking about it now, like you say, that's a really brave thing to do. If he ticks that box off, I don't think anyone's ever doubted his physical capabilities in the ring. No one's ever questioned the skill level. I mean, this is one of the most highly sought after amateurs. He's
got all the talent in the world to win this fight. If he keeps his head screwed on, I think he wins it. If he doesn't, he loses. Quite simple. Troy's got the capabilities to beat him if he's not on his A game mentally and physically.
I think we're going to bring Troy Williamson in. He's just arrived around us. Troy, speak of the devil. We were just speaking about the huge clash this Friday night, live on Channel 5 from 9 p.m. You're defending your Super-Welterweight British title against Josh Kelly. It's a local derby. It's a huge fight. It's one that the fans have been calling for. Just talk to us a little bit about how you are in fight week.
Yeah, really good, really chilled out. Just counting on the days now. I really can't wait to get in there and get the job done.
You seem calm. Is it a case of, like fighters always say, the hard work's been done, now it's time to enjoy myself? For you personally, is that where you are now?
Yeah, exactly. The hard work has been done. I've been in camp for 11 weeks. Very hard and technical camp. I had some great sparring, hitting all different types of numbers in my training, S&C and running. So yeah, just a case of winding down now, relaxing, enjoying my time, and we got to work Friday night.
Would you say this camp has required more concentration? Has this camp required more effort and input because of the size of the fight than maybe any fight you've been involved with previously?
No, definitely not. It's another fight, isn't it? Obviously, I'm a true professional, so I take every fight serious. Doesn't matter whether it's at the start of my career against a journeyman or if it was going to be for a world title. I'm very disciplined and willing to learn at all times. So yeah, nothing's changed. Hard work and dedication as always.
What's the buzz been like around you and your fan base, given that it's a local boy, it's not some journeyman that's come in from here, there or anywhere, it's a local guy, everybody knows him. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover in that fan base as well. What have the people around you been like in the build up to this one?
Yeah, it's massive. Obviously, like you said, obviously it's got a lot of people talking. The whole of the North East talking. I was in the Metro Centre an hour ago, just walking around the shop and people are pointing. I could see people pointing and chatting about it. So it's got everybody talking, not just in the North East, all over the country. I've sold tickets from all down the country that are travelling down, so it's great. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable, and the following's getting bigger, and I'm really appreciative to everyone that's bought tickets for me, myself.
Well, we can't wait to see you on Friday night. We can't wait to see you up on the top table very shortly. But to kick us off today, we've got a stacked undercard press conference, which I think we are moments away from going to. It's going to be Joe Price that kicks us off. A stacked undercard featuring Lyndon Arthur, a rematch between Jose Stewart, Franklin Ignatius, and a host of local talent. We're going to go live straight to that top table now with Joe Price.
I'm back in church at school.
It's the undercard thing.
Co-feature and undercard, yeah. Cheers, Jack.
Is he not just sponsored by KFC?
Hi everyone, welcome to the final pre-fight press conference for this obviously huge night of boxing on Friday at the Utility Arena in Newcastle. Judgment night is what it'll be. It'll be against obviously Troy Williamson, the champion, Super-Welterweight, that British title, coming up against Josh Kelly, another talented North East fighter. It'll all be live and free on Channel 5 from Friday, and before obviously we get the main event kicked off after this, we've got a plethora of talented fighters obviously in front of us, ready to advertise themselves in the right way in front of a huge Newcastle audience, as well as a huge viewing audience as well. But to kick things off, I think we go over to our promoter, Callum Sauerland. It's only right that he briefs us on how much of a big night this is going to be.
Good afternoon, Newcastle. Nice cold welcome coming off the train this morning. So a banging show, it's a big show. It's a huge North East takeover. Got to say, before we go into boxing, some of the outfits up here today, I thought Junior took the week with his KFC outfit yesterday, but there's a couple up here. I'd like Joe to tell me later on what big knob actually means in a Versace bathrobe, but I'll go to one-on-one with him on that one. No, fantastic card, great card. Full credit to my brother for putting the card together. We've got obviously a super main event, but I think the co-feature, Lyndon, obviously back on Channel 5, tough fight with Joel, and we're looking, to build people up for future Channel 5 events. We saw how well this platform does. Last Friday night, Harlem Eubank, in his first ever main event on Channel 5, smashed the whole boxing, and it was a big boxing weekend, to absolute smithereens. In fact, I would call it a first round, first minute knockout, with 1.88 million viewers on terrestrial television. So that shows you the sort of platform the guys and girls with us are aspiring to get to put it into perspective. Look at Harlem's year. He started off last year with us boxing on the undercard in Latvia when we were promoting Myris Bridis in a world title fight. Came through the card, went to co-feature, now headline, 1.88 million viewers, So lots to aspire to. So I hope, and I'm sure, everyone will put on performances. There's a couple of real great matchups. Joe, I'll let you go into detail on that in a minute. But it's great to be in this special fight city, and be talking more about the main event in a minute.
And as Carlos said, obviously, super talented undercard. So we'll start there from the bottom with, obviously, Adam Reichard, your boxing debut, my friend. Just describe what the Northeast rather means to you, and to have your first fight there.
Yeah, well, I think everyone up there will agree that to be from the Northeast, super proud to be from the Northeast, and to be on such a big card, which is probably the biggest card the Northeast seen for a long while, especially the biggest Northeast derby, and to be making my debut, it's unreal, isn't it? I mean, it's what people dream of when they turn over professional, especially to be in the arena in Newcastle.
And obviously, as we mentioned, mate, it'd be obviously debut in your first fight. People might not have seen too much of you. How would you sell yourself to that audience? What kind of fighter are you?
Well, I like to think I can do a bit of both, bit of everything, but come forward, back foot. But I mean, on Friday night, I'm definitely going to be coming out and taking centre of the ring, and definitely be pushing the pace and looking for that stoppage. But if it doesn't come, it doesn't come, and I'm trying to entertain the fans at the end of the day, and that's what I'm here to do.
Adam, thank you there. Travis, next to him. Again, another local talent making his debut, obviously at home in the Northeast. There seems to be more and more talent coming out of the area in recent years. What's it been like for you to be a part of that?
I feel like it's a massive privilege. Obviously, the big shows are starting to come up in the Northeast now, because obviously a lot of the top amateurs have actually turned pro now, signed up some big promoters. And obviously the big promoters is bringing the shows up into the Northeast, so it's giving people like myself and the other lads opportunities. So I'm thankful for that.
And sort of to reflect the same question that was asked of Adam, again, pro debut, there might not be that many people that have had the opportunity to see you just yet. What's going to be that key component to your game that gets the fans excited and off the seats?
Well, I like to think I like to try and push the pace a lot during my fights, and I like to think I'm a busy fighter. I like to think I'm a box fighter, so I'm excited to watch, and hopefully on Friday night I can show that and people will believe that.
Thank you. And we move across to the bottom right to Bobby Dalton. Bobby, 2 fights, 2 wins so far. You're yet to drop a round in your young career. How pleased are you with how things have started out for you?
Yeah, I'm happy with my performances and looking forward to putting another big performance on Friday night, mate. And
obviously you're a super welterweight, just like the main event. I know you perhaps side with one side more than the other as a stablemate in Troy. How much of an inspiration, I guess, is he for you? You know, working alongside him and seeing what he does in the gym. You know, just explain a little bit of working alongside that.
Massive inspiration, just seeing what he does in and outside the ring. It's brought my game on tenfold, so just being a sponge really and enjoying the ride.
And what's your prediction for your own fight on Friday?
Just a win. If the knockout comes, it comes, but a win.
Thanks, Bobby. And just to his right there, Ewan McKenzie. Macca, you're gaining a reputation as a bit of a finisher recently, with 5 wins, but them last 3 fights all been stoppages or retiring your opponent. How do you see this fight going? More of the same?
Yeah, definitely more of the same. I'm going to bring it like I always do. I'm never in a boring fight, so I'm going to make sure that I put it all over him, get that stoppage again, keep the ball rolling.
And this will be fight number 6, and it'll be fight number 6 in the northeast as well. You know, you're sticking on home turf. What is it about this area that is such a big secret weapon for you?
Yeah, it's like the northeast lads all back the one, you know what I mean? So when a show like this gets put on, everyone's there, you know, it's all the faces you see, all your pals, you know, and everyone just always gets together and has a good night.
And just left inside there is Jordan Baker Porter, sorry, almost. And you know, you're the female contingent for this one. You're flying the flag for us today. This will be your 4th fight within 2022, so a really active year for you. You know, a TKO last time. Are you approaching it in similar fashion, or how would you like to see this one go?
Absolutely. It is actually Barker Porter as well, not Baker. But and this is going to be my 5th fight this year. I said I wanted to be active. I set myself a target to have 4. This is my 5th. And I said last fight I was going to bring the spice. This fight I'm going to bring the spice and the sauce. And I plan on lighting her up like a Christmas tree on Friday night.
Very festive. You're becoming a beacon for the Northeast's female fighters. You know, do you take that as a privilege, or is that a heavy burden to carry? Sorry.
No, not at all. Look, there is some good girls in the Northeast, and I'm just in the mix now, and getting the spots that I feel I deserve. So yeah, coming on through for the girls.
And let's say you get through fight night as planned. What do you see as next for you?
Titles next year, 100%. I want a European, a Commonwealth. We'll get something, because obviously there's Northern title there's no one in the area, so I can't fight for that. You can't get a British title as a female because there's not enough females in the category. So the next best thing for us is European or Commonwealth. So I'm coming for something.
And that will start on Friday, of course. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Ben Marksby just to the left there. Ben, undefeated, super lightweight, 5-0. You know, you're fighting a very hungry fighter with the opportunity to come here in your home turf and sort of take the night away from you. What have you done in your preparations to make sure, you know, this night's all about you?
Well, I've just trained really, really hard, like every other camp. I'm just looking to perform on Friday. I know I can.
And I guess it's a similar sort of stage you're at as Jordan when we spoke before. You know, you're progressing nicely now and you're getting them big wins and you're climbing the ladder. Let's say you get through Friday night. You know, where do you see the next 12 months panning out for you? What's going to be the aim?
I think the aim for the next 12 months is I'd like an English title in the next 12 months. I know I could win one, so just speak to my manager Steve and hopefully he can push that for me.
And I mean, it's always hard to just throw a name out there, but is anyone that you'd like next in a domestic level, should you win on Friday?
There's no one in particular, really. I'd fight anybody domestically, so just whoever they put in front of me.
Thank you very much. And Joe, yeah, I'm equally as not sure if interested or concerned in what it says on the back of your shirt there, but again, that'll be one for for another time. Things didn't exactly go to plan last time out in the last fight. You know, it was only his second loss. You're a young man still just coming into his prime. Sometimes these things can be a blessing in disguise. You know, how do you feel it has been a big blessing and a big learning curve for you?
Hello. Yep, it's working. I took the last one as I learned. I didn't class it as a loss. I've came back. My spirits are still higher than ever. I was back in the gym post-operation. I'm beating PBs, and I just can't win to fight again, mate. I just can't wait. I was put on this plan to entertain. I was put on this plan to fight, and it's good to see the undercard. Like, I've literally shared a ring from the amateurs and pros with everybody on the bottom table, and it's good to see come through one of the biggest cards the North East has to offer. And like I say, we're all friends, we're all boxing pals, and it's good to see. Friday night is going to be electric.
And you said yourself there, obviously you're hitting PBs and everything's sort of been developing. Have you changed anything since that last fight to, you know, make this sort of a statement win and you kick on here?
Yeah, I have. I've just been training hard, and I got this fight short notice, but I'm ready when I'm not ready. I am always ready to throw hands, and Friday night I'm throwing hands. Win, lose, draw, knockout. I knock out, them knock me out. I'm throwing hands. I am throwing my hands Friday night, and that's that.
Thank you very much for that, Joe. We've got
hence the word big knob, I guess. You know, big balls. You know, like it.
We go to the end of the top table for Matty Harris, just down there. You know, tipped as a future star of the heavyweight division. He returns to the scene of the crime, I guess, where he had that highlight reel knockout against Metis at the very same arena. Matty, it's very hard not to ask the question, but are we expecting another explosive finish? How do you see Fight Night going?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Every time I go in there, I'm going in there to try and knock people out. That's what people want to see. That's what brings the crowds in. That's what sells tickets. So, yeah, I'll be going in there to try and get another explosive finish.
And just talk to me a little bit about your focus, obviously, when you're training as well. It's not to say you lack focus, but is it hard to hone in on them skills when you know that actually you've always got the trigger ready to pull, and that can be the thing that gets you out of any situation in a fight?
Absolutely not. I want to be known as a boxer first. The punch power is just something that I can fall back on if I need to. Something that kind of puts a full stop at the end of a performance, really. But yeah, now I'm always in the gym, working on my skills with my coach, Edwin. So yeah, ready to keep the journey going.
And do you know much about Yuri Surmaj, your opponent? Is it very much training revolves around what he could bring, or is it more about improving yourself in the best Matty Harris beats anyone?
Yeah, absolutely. I really don't care what he brings to the ring. I'm going, I spent the last, 6 months working on bits for me. As I said, I'm not looking at this guy, I'm looking through him. Obviously, I know I've got a job to do on Friday night, sorry.
And finally, obviously, Friday night, how do you feel about being back in Newcastle? Obviously, you've had some great moments, as we mentioned, as we introduced you. What do you think about the card, and what do you think about fighting here in the North East?
I'm excited to be back. Obviously, I got very good memories the last time I was here. Got that highlight reel knockout, so yeah, I'm looking to bang another one of them out.
Thanks, Matty. We move on to heavyweights again. And we've sort of created a little saga here after the first fight being a draw between two very big men and very big hitting heavyweights. It's the rematch between Hosea Stewart down at the bottom there and Franklin Ignatius next to me. As we say, they couldn't be split. You know, now they've got 6 rounds to settle the score. Calla, I want to come to you first, if that's okay. What did you think about the last fight, and are you hoping that we get a winner this time around?
I'll just say a couple of words first on Magical Matty, and then on the other heavyweight fight. I think Matty's come through the year very strongly. He's one of it's an exciting scene in heavyweights, especially the British domestic heavyweights, and I think by the end of next year we'll be in a position to really challenge those bigger names. He's had a couple of show reel knockouts, but also some very strong performances, activity. yeah, I mean, the all heavyweight one, you know, Jose looks in very good nick. Franklin looks very smart as well today. Look, it was a fight that had the fans standing last time. I believe our head of social media caught the mouth guard from one punch even. So we saw fists flying, we saw punches landing at heavyweight. It's going to be interesting over 6 rounds. It's tactically a very big difference to a 4-round fight at heavyweight. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, the first fight was real good fun. Look, they're both early in their careers, learning, and you know, it was a learning fight, I think, for both. So we'll see who took the better lesson out of it, and I'm very excited to watch it.
So Franklin, I'll start with you. She sat right next to me there. A draw last time. Then talk me through how you feel the fight went, and you know, how do you feel about the decision?
Well, first of all, thank you to Kel and Nisse for having me on and giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it. The fight the first time round, you know, it was literally, like I said, it was an opportunity that got offered to me. I took it with both hands. And with the fight itself, you know, I thought I'd done enough to win, but at the same time, I can also see why I was given a draw, so I'm not complaining about it. It was definitely a lesson, you know. I went back, I didn't really take any time off. I went right back to the gym and applied those lessons, you know, to learn from it. I think I brought me on as a fighter because the opportunity was the first time I was in that type of situation. And as a result of it, you know, I came back a much improved fighter. And then, you know, since then, I think I've just come on. I've had a lot of sparring, a lot of developing. I was also given an opportunity to spar Hergovic. You know, he has complimentary things to say about me, and I learned a lot from that experience. And I've come back, you know, more than ready for the challenge. And I'm very grateful to 6-rounder. I feel like that is a fight and a format that would suit me and suits my skill set. And I think, yeah, I'm very confident about this Friday, and I'm looking forward to it.
And Jose, I want to throw a very similar question back to you. You know, last time out, how did you feel the fight went? You know, what did you learn, and what did you think of the decision ultimately?
There's many things I took from it. Like, you know, I learned from it. I understand that I just got to stick to my boxing, do what I do best, not get drawn into the theatrics of anything else. You know, I hope he's put in the work, because we've been in the gym daily, regardless of injuries and whatnot. And yeah, I'm more than confident. Likewise, I've got the great sparring in. Just been building my experience, and I'm ready to come Friday night and put in a performance.
And Franklin, obviously you shared the ring last time. It's going to be a longer format this time. Was there anything that surprised you when you fought Jose last time, or did you see any weaknesses that you think you could exploit this time around?
Listen, I'm just happy the fight went the way it went, because then I gave me an opportunity to correct it the second time around. There's literally, as far as anything he's done, I mean, he looks the same to me, so it's an opportunity for me to just display my improvements. And I just wish it happened earlier, because I would have done it earlier and had a better job doing it earlier, but it ain't no difference to me whether it happens now or later. I'm more than ready for Friday.
And what's going to give you the edge this time around?
I had the edge the first time around. So there's nothing more to say. I had the edge the first time around. It's just about making it more conclusive and actually showing my own development this time, but no difference.
Jose, do you agree with that? Do you think he did have the edge first time round? And what are you going to do again this time round to make sure you get that win?
If he had the edge first time round, we wouldn't be here, for starters. You know, the jab was fixing him in, but we'll talk about that after Friday. And you know, like I say, I ain't here to do talking. The talking's long. Friday night, I'm going to put hands on, and I'm going to show what I've been doing. So that's
this mystery injury you brought up. I still never saw no evidence about it. I never saw nothing. You know, we would have had this fight earlier. We've been calling for it earlier. This mystery injury you brought up, I didn't see anything. But like I said, we're having a fight. It's Friday already, so there's no point talking too much.
Man, talking done. Talk done. Friday, it's here, innit? You got the fight. I wanted the fight. That's that. Nothing more needs to be said, innit? I'll see you Friday night.
I'll just ask for one more from each of you then. Franklin first. Prediction, how's this fight go?
Stoppage.
Any round?
No, not particularly. Whichever, I don't mind.
Okay, Jose, yourself?
Just going to set pace on him, regardless how it goes. It might be a 6-round beatdown, or he might go crumbling in one of the rounds. We'll see.
Thank you very much. Calla, I'm going to come back to you for a huge light heavyweight fight. Lyndon Arthur, King Lyndon Arthur, a fitting setting really. It's quite a regal place we sit in today. He's fighting Joe McIntyre, you know, someone with a good pedigree and a good ability to push every fight that he has, a good finishing record. What do you think of this one?
I've always got used to every time I hear the words King Arthur, because most might know or not know, but we promoted Arthur Abraham from his first pro fight through his 3 world title fights. So when I hear King Abraham or King Arthur Abraham and now King Lyndon Arthur, it's good to keep that family tradition going. No, we're delighted to sign Lyndon earlier this year. Super exciting weight class. Tough opponent in Joel. It's exactly what Lyndon wants. He's got a great setup in Manchester, and he's teeing everything up for a big 2023. But can't look past Joel. It's a big fight. Again, we talk about those eyeballs. I'm a promoter, so they've got the platform to do it on. Super exciting domestic fights to be made next year. But again, that's for sign afterwards. For us, it's Friday night. It's a tough fight, and bring it on.
And Joel, I'll start with yourself if that's okay. You've got more rounds in the bank than Lyndon, more of that ring time. Lyndon's obviously a tremendous athlete and a great boxer, but how are you going to use that experience to edge this one?
For me, the experience has come from in the time in the gym and the years in the pro game. I had a very short amateur career. It was like 12 fights, 11 wins, 1 loss. I didn't do the pedigree, I didn't do the GB, I didn't do the travelling all over the world, fighting, over and over again, consecutive days. So I had to learn going straight in at the TKO gym, in the old TKO in the East End. And so I had to learn there. So I learned in the game. So so the experience has come over the rounds. Like you say, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use everything that I've done in the multiple round sparring with top lads. I could name drop, but it's just not my style. But yeah, over and over again, loads and loads of rounds, loads and loads of sparring. And I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use what I have naturally, which is heart, and just the will to fight.
And you're known as El Toro, or the Bull, if anyone didn't know what that meant. And is this an insight in how you're going to approach this fight? Obviously, you mentioned your heart, you've got plenty of experience, but you're going to be looking, not to give too much away, is it going to be a fast, aggressive start? You're going to look to drag him into some deep waters where your heart can shine?
El Toro's, the bull. The bulls run straight forward. They run straight forward without a great deal of thought. They just run red. Well, I don't do that. I like to react. So I'm going to react to exactly what is in front of me. We do have tactics and we do have a plan. But everyone has a plan, as Mike Tyson said, until they get punched in the face. So we're just going to have to react and do what we've got to do. So that's my game plan. And there it is in front of you. It's a reaction game. I like to counter punch. I like to come forward. I don't like to take a backward step. But if I do get put on the back foot, someone's going to walk onto something.
And I guess again, how do you see this fight going? You must have closed your eyes thinking about this as you prepare for it each night and day. And is there a certain way you see this going for you?
Yeah, I do. I see myself winning this. I don't see myself letting it go to the judges because I don't trust the judges to do me right. I'm not talking about robberies. I'm just talking about, why let another guy sort of tell you whether you want to fight or not when you can sort of put it beyond doubt yourself. That's not me being sort of big mouth and big this, big that, because that's not my style again. But I don't want it to go to the judges. I want to take care of the fight and I want to move forward. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here. This is what I've been all the rounds in the gym, like I said before, and all the rounds in the ring that I've done, this is what it's for. This is my first proper big press conference like this. After so many years in the game, you wouldn't believe it, but it's true. And this is what I've always wanted. So for me to let it slip now, it would be very irresponsible of myself. But yeah, I thank Westman and that, and they've treated us well, but I think they've made a big mistake bringing me in.
In Lyndon, he says, this could be a mistake, and he's the bull. He's going to be charging. If the bull comes charging and is looking for a firefight on Friday night, what is the outcome in your eyes? How do you see that going?
He has to say that, because why else would he be here if he didn't believe that he could beat me or that I believe he could tame me, kind of thing. So it's in my power to be able to do that and be able to tame him as the bull he thinks he is. So I'm excited for it. I'm trained well. He's a good, tough fighter. I've looked at him. I think he's won his last 2 fights by knockout. I think he's 2-time English champion. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, he's a tough opponent, and I'm happy to be in this fight.
And you say there, obviously, he has to say these sort of things. It's his big night. He admitted that himself, being on a big show. Do you think that your level's above in comparison? Do you think, not necessarily this will be an easy night's work, but is he someone that you would have faced before in your career?
It's just that if I can't beat him, then I'm set back more than I thought I was, and I believe I can. I believe I'm better. I believe everything I do is better than what he does. No disrespect, but I just do. And again, if I didn't believe that, I shouldn't be here myself. So again, I'm just excited for Friday, and only time will tell what's going to happen. And
you bullied Walter Sakira last time out in your last fight.
He was tough. He was tough, him though.
And you said that yourself, it was a case of cobwebs coming off as well, and you say a tough man that you put away. Is this now going to be the peak Lyndon Arthur that we see? Is this going to be the beginning of the rise of your return to the top, or the renaissance for the
I definitely wasn't as sharp as I thought I would be in my last fight, but I'm a lot sharper now in the gym, and like you say, shake the cobwebs off kind of thing, and I'll definitely be a better version of myself than I was last fight out.
And Joel's mentioned his heart, and there is an ability to drag this into places that you may or may not want it to go. Have you got a certain plan for this fight? I appreciate you can't give too much away.
Well, it's like you said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So I prepare to punch him in the mouth on Friday a lot of times. So we'll see what happens.
And again, the old cliche of not being able to look past anyone with respect to Joel. Say you come through this on Friday night. Where do you want the next few fights to see you go? Is it huge domestic names that you can mention, or are you looking at bigger and better steps on world honours?
It's like Calla says, there's a lot of huge domestic fights in this division. This division at the moment's like absolutely popping, and I'm excited to be in it. I'm excited to be a part of the light heavyweight division in Britain, and the world stage is amazing as well. So I'm just looking forward to the future.
Are you able to provide any names of who you'd like?
I don't mind anyone.
Got lots of names. Don't worry about that.
And
closing comment in here from me. Just a lot of people say, "What's the perks of your job?" And I've got to say, what Joel just said there, that it's his first time up here on a press conference like this. All the guys and girls on the undercard to put on a platform for what they do in a gym. That's the perk of my job. And that what you just said, that was a very, for me, a touching moment. It was very, very special when he said it. Sorry, he's still going to get beat on Friday night. My man's going to take you out, but El Toro will come. But that was very, very nice words, my friend. Very, very nice words.
Working with you again in the future.
And I'll give you another chance. Don't worry.
I look forward to working with you again in the future.
That was a very nice thing you said. On to just finally on Lyndon. We didn't sign him to make him British champion, so I respect what you're saying on the domestic fights. But this man is world level. Yeah? He's world level. He's not domestic level. And I know there's lots of good domestic fighters, and there's interesting domestic fights to be made, but we didn't sign him to make him British champion or Commonwealth champion or even European champion. This man here is not going to be, he's going to be the next King Arthur in our stable. And there's big shoes to fill, but we really believe in him, and Pat and the whole setup he's got. But he's got to get past El Toro first. And the reaction is, by the way, the bull as well reacts to the red what is it, red flag or whatever it is.
Napkin.
Napkin, yeah. There we go. But you got to watch.
The matador.
But you sometimes have to watch what's behind the red napkin.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh my. Oh my.
Ladies and gents.
I'm looking forward to that one. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting co-feature.
And that concludes the undercard. Just to remind everyone, there are limited tickets still available via wassermanboxing.com. The doors will be opening at 5:30, and the first bout will be scheduled for 20 to 6 on Friday night. The undercard action can be viewed on Boxing Social's YouTube account, so be sure to check in there. And we go live on Channel 5 from 9 p.m. and the main card will follow up shortly. So thank you very much.
Done. Thank you. All the best. Nice to meet you, brother. You did fine. Huh? Fine, you're a guy. Yeah. You know, right here. Way back. Yeah, he's my trainer now, man. Yeah. It's good. Man. You're the best, yeah?
And live from Common Hall, the undercard press conference has just finished. We've seen a huge build-up into the Troy Williamson Josh Kelly fight night this weekend. But the undercard is not one to be written off either. The star of the undercard here, first and foremost, Lyndon Arthur. Welcome to Newcastle. It's a little chilly.
Yes,
we wouldn't
fucking freezing. Sorry for the swearing.
We wouldn't expect anything different up here. It's always a bit chilly. How did it feel up on the top table?
It's just another day. I'm used to being here now. I don't know. I've been at the top table quite a few times, and I feel like it's natural for me. So I used to get nervous talking up there. Now I'm fine.
I loved the line that you brought out. I love the line as we're sort of stampeded upon up here. I love the line that you brought out. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I plan on punching him in the mouth. When you're up there, people want to ask you about the next fight, the world level, the British level. For you though, I guess you've just got to focus on punching this man in the mouth first. He's the one in front of you.
Yeah, and, you know, it's tough. I watched his fight the other day for the first time. I've seen him. It's a tough kid. I believe I'm better. I believe I'm going to win. I believe I get the knockout. I generally do. But if I don't, I'm prepared for the 10 rounds. And like you said, I've got to focus on him. But moving forward, I've got a big 2023 ahead of me.
Talk to me about the last few weeks, because as we know, you were there set to go on the undercard of a different fight that then didn't happen for reasons.
Somebody cost me money
for different reasons. But you are out now. What's your training regime schedule been like because of that stop-start activity, if you like?
It wasn't so much stop-start. I trust in Sunderland and Kala Wasserman. I trust in them both, and I trust that they would have got me out before the end of the year again. So I stayed in the gym and I stayed training. I stayed sparring. I stayed ready. So this wasn't too much of a shock.
Talk to me a little bit about Joel McIntyre. I know you were asked up there then. I can appreciate it's a little bit different when the eyes of the whole press are looking at you. What does he bring to you? What challenge? What challenge do you have to sort of get ready for?
Sorry, I know you say it's a bit different, but I've looked at. I've only got. We made the decision 2 weeks ago. So I was supposed to fight somebody else, and then he come in 2 weeks' notice. Thank you to him, but I've watched him once or twice on the YouTube with the clips you can see on there, and I can say he's a tough opponent. He's tough. He can come. He's a counter puncher. He comes forward. He comes back. I've seen him. I think I'm sure he's got the last 2 knockouts in his last 2 fights. I think. So he brings. He puts a touch of fear into me. So I have to be sharp. I know that.
You say thank you to him. Your plan to reward him for saying thanks is to punch him in the face?
A lot of times.
several times. Lyndon, I've got to ask you before we let you go. The main event is obviously hugely talked about. Yeah. I think you know Troy. I think I'm right in saying
both of them. I know both of them. I know Troy. I know Troy well. I sparred Troy a couple of times on the GB setup. I know Josh. I don't know Josh so much as I know Troy, but I know Josh is when I remember going to GB first, he was one of the first fighters I seen up there, and I remember thinking, wow, he's an elite fighter already. Yeah. His natural movement is amazing. I do think Troy's gonna win, but I think he has to be very sharp going into the first early rounds.
Is this Is this a case? I mean, you took the words out of my mouth there. I was going to ask you your prediction. A lot of people are saying if it's early, it's Josh. If it's late, it's Troy. Is that what you're going with?
That's because Josh is. He's kind of gone on. He's kind of made it to look like he's not a 12-round fighter or a 10-round fighter. He might be that now. He might be that, and he might go in and box Troy's head off for 12 rounds. He might win unanimous decision. Again, I don't know, but from the outside looking in, as a fan perspective, I believe that Troy will take him into deep waters. He just has to be sharp early on.
Well, to sign off, Lyndon, I know there's
I also am looking forward to Joe Laws's fight. I'm a fan of that man. That man's crazy.
The only man who can walk around, I don't know if we can say this on the stream, it rhymes with Big Rob on the back of his t-shirt, but on his dressing gown. But the top two fighters of the night, obviously yourself fighting, and then Josh and Troy, you're expecting early finishes in both?
In my fight?
In both fights, your fight and then Josh and Troy?
I don't know, but I expect to finish, whether it's early or whether it's late, I don't mind. Troy's fight, I think that's going to go late. I think that's going to go about 8, 9, 10, maybe. Okay. 10 rounds there. I think Troy will take over after 6, 5 maybe. If they prove me wrong, I'm excited. I'm going to be a fan for that fight.
You'll be ringside, yeah?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I'm going to get a seat.
Oh, willing. Nice. Well, Lyndon, I'll let you go and speak to all the media that I know are waiting to speak to you, and we'll see you fight night. Of course. Thank you as ever, Lyndon Arthur. My man, thank you very much. Here at Common Hall in Newcastle. Another star on the undercard, a rising star, returning to the scene of one of his most famous knockouts to date is the Magic Man. I had to stand like this a little bit. The Magic Man, Matty Harris. It's always great to see you, Matty. How's it up on the top table?
Do you know what? It's quite nice. I would say I'm not normally a fan of press conferences, but I quite enjoyed that. I'm really looking forward to Jose and Lyndon's fight, to be honest. Not Jose and Lyndon, Jose and Franklin's fight.
Yeah.
That is one I'm quite looking forward to. To be fair, I think all the main cards. Well, no, this is all the undercard, isn't it?
That was the undercard. There are some heavyweight clashes on there. I'll speak to you about Jose and Franklin in a moment. Lyndon against Joel McIntyre.
Yeah.
We brought you up to speak about yours.
Okay.
And you sounded confident. You sounded bright. You said, I'm looking through him. Talk to me a little bit about that comment.
And he didn't give me a chance to explain it because he kind of cut me off like as I wanted to carry on. But it's all right. But
Statement made, I think that was the point.
I wouldn't say, obviously I don't look through any opponent, but I know this is a guy that I should be able to get through without too much struggle. As I said, I've shared the ring with elite level fighters. So I was going to say, all right, yeah, sparring and fighting is one thing, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I know I can handle myself in there. Do you know what I mean?
Just talk to me a little bit about those elite level fighters that you've been sparring. I know we've seen a few things on social media, but you've been sparring with some big names who are in some big fights at the moment. Can you divulge who you've been in there with?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I've been in there. I've been with Chisora for the past 5 weeks sparring. Wait, it's got to be that close?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been in with Chisora for the past 5 weeks sparring, and I've been able to hold my own in there. It's a good pace. It's high intensity. You're doing 3 minutes on with 30-second breaks in between the rounds. You know what I mean? So it's high intensity, getting you ready for fighting. So I'm thinking if I can hold my own in there with people like him. This guy, whoever he is, I'm not going to struggle with. But as I said, I know I'm confident enough in my skills, my fitness levels, and my physical attributes that I should be able to go in there and get the job done.
Last time in Newcastle, Matty, just finally, last time in Newcastle, you were devastating. The performance you put on has sparked social media conversation and debate, highlight reel, knockout of the year, so on and so forth. Is it a repeat on Friday?
Absolutely. I was going to say, how many other heavyweights are not only my size in terms of what, I'm 6'8", 6'9", 19 and a half stone and can move like me, as athletic as I am. That is only going to inspire devastating knockouts, and that's what I'm here to deliver.
I don't think there's many people that can keep up with that. You are one of 2 top heavyweight clashes on this undercard there. You mentioned Franklin and Jose. We're going to bring Jose in now. Matty, I'll let you go and speak to all those media outlets who are baying for you. There's a few over there. Thank you very much, and we'll see you fight night. The way in first, should I say, but then fight night next.
Appreciate it, brother.
Matty Harris, thank you very much. From one heavyweight to another, Jose Stewart.
Mic check 1, 2.
Mic check 1. We're a bit late for the sound check, Jose.
We're working.
But listen, you brought some style up there. You brought some confidence up there. This is an opponent that you know well. The first press conference, if we cast our mind back all those months, I think about 6 months ago now, you two were almost grabbing the mic off one another. This time, despite it being somewhat of a grudge match, it was a little bit calmer. You said quite clearly, the talking's been done.
Yeah.
I'm ready to set the record straight.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, the talking's been done. I've handled my business in the gym. I've stayed busy, regardless of injuries and stuff. You know, I've stayed in the gym. I've been active, and I've been enjoying my work. And we've come here to do one task and one task only, and that's to get the win. Whether I knock him out or whether I put on a masterclass and take him to school, I don't need to talk up there. You know, he's just trying to boost his little profile, but you know, I got business to handle.
Last time we saw you going into that fight, you had a new coach.
Yeah.
If memory serves, you'd not been with that new coach all that long. Now you've had a few months with him.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how your game's different, how you're different as a fighter.
Very different. You know, I'm starting to feel like myself again because you know, we've been keeping active, getting brilliant sparring. You know, I've been in camp with the likes of Dillian White. I've got sparring with Daniel Dubois, and we're feeling good in there, having good feedback as well. So you know, my confidence is oozing, and yeah, I just can't wait to go out there Friday night, put on a performance, and just stay where I belong when just in the ring.
we saw Matty Harris up here a moment ago, and he was talking about the elite sparring that he's had with Derek Chisora. I know you know Matty well. You've been in with, you just mentioned Dillian White and others there. What was that like for you as a fighter? What have you been able to learn from, I mean, household names, superstar names now like Dillian White?
So much, you know, just every aspect, how they train, from how they warm up, how they approach their training, the way they learn, and just like, you know, they set little targets for themselves during their training. And you know, they hit those targets, and you can see the confidence just fly through them. And you know, you put that into your own camp as well, and start to implement that into your work. And you see the difference. It's very different at that elite level, and you know that's where I feel like I belong. So you know, we're just trying to get there. Definitely.
Given the style that Dillian White fights, like, you know, maximum violence is his tagline. Yeah. You know, Franklin, he comes, he's very well dressed, he looks very smart, but we know that he's going to come forward. It doesn't matter the persona outside. Are we sort of expecting that kind of style of fight? We saw Dillian White last week, and that was a real sort of slugfest, if you like. Both fighters really went at it. Dillian, in the end, got his hand raised. Do you expect a similar sort of, maybe not split decision result, but certainly the same sort of style where both fighters come forward and just start throwing haymakers?
For me, like I say, you know, I just got to go in there and handle my business. Put on a boxing masterclass, hit him with hard shots, and he'll feel it. You know, if he sees the final ball, fair play. As long as I get the win. If not, he'll crumble in between. And regardless what it comes with, I just got to go in there and get the win.
I've got to ask you, Jose, before we clear the way for the main event, which is on the way up, of course. This Friday night, live on Channel 5, Josh Kelly against Troy Williamson. That unbelievable British title clash at Super-Welterweight.
Yeah.
Break that fight down a little bit for me, because it's one of the most talked about fights in British boxing at the moment.
I'm on the fence. You know,
no, we're not allowed. We can't take you on there. We can't take you there.
Like to try. I know he's a workhorse, and he puts it on people from start to finish. He throws bombs, he takes them, and he keeps going. And you know, you got Josh Kelly's on the other end. It's a great boxer. He's very skillful. So you know, it'll be interesting to see. But I just want to say a classic.
You're not sticking your neck out so far as to give a prediction.
I just want to say a classic. I'll be there, man, happily watching.
Fair play. We might try and pull him away from that fence. I'm actually just going to bring in your opponent. I'll let you run on. Thank you very much for joining, Jose. Thank you. All the best. Hopefully, we won't get the pre-match fight. No, they're walking past each other, all civilised. There, Franklin walking past Jose. I'm glad I'm not in the middle of you two. Let me just put it like that. I think at the press conference for the first one, who was it? It was in the middle. There was a lightweight in the middle of you, and maybe that was poorly positioned.
It was a sticky one. We shared one mic, if you remember. You know, it was a sticky one.
So we've just had Jose on. It's one of the most anticipated fights on the undercard this Friday.
Yep.
Of a huge bill. You know, we'll speak to you about the main event in a moment. Josh Kelly against Troy Williamson for that super-welterweight British title. Your fight, though, is intriguing because it's a rematch. There seemed to be animosity in the first one, maybe even more so than in the second one. This time, you both sort of know each other. There was no trash talking. But what I will say is both of you seem very serious, and you mean business when you're up there.
Yes. I think, you know, this time around, we both know what we're dealing with, you know. For me, myself, I have taken the experience I had from the first one and kind of channeled it into my training. In the back of my mind, I know people say, oh, it's unusual to have a rematch straight away. But for me, myself, I wanted a rematch. I wanted to put the chance to put right to wrongs, so to speak, and I also want an opportunity to kind of put this fight to bed. I believe, I have the potential to push on and show what I'm doing, and at the same time, I also feel like I need fights like this. I need fights that are, you could say, tough in order for me to improve each fight. I feel like the fight I'm going to have on Friday will showcase the improvements I've made. I'm looking forward to it, man.
So, to put those words back to you, say I want to right the wrongs.
Yeah.
What were the wrongs? Are you saying the wrongs were the score themselves, or was it your own game that you maybe want to improve?
It's more
on
my own game, because at the end of the day, the judges will only score based on what they see.
Yeah.
Of course, public consensus and the commentators believe that I've done enough to win, but I'm not sitting here to cry about spilt milk, so to speak. For me, it's more a thing of that I know I'm capable of a better performance than that.
Yeah.
And it's just my chance to show it.
You two, you're both big boys. You're both very heavy-handed. Last time, somehow, you both managed to stay the distance. Do you predict this time, maybe that won't happen, maybe one of you will land?
I'm looking for a stoppage. I feel like...
Does that make you more vulnerable? Because if you're coming forward specifically looking for the stoppage... Because you're coming forward looking for the stoppage, that means you're more open.
I guess that's an argument that can be made, but I don't believe so, because I think the first time round, I was not able to fully show my skill set. I think there's a lot more in the armory than people have seen from me thus far, and the improvements I've made from that fight onwards, I think, is what's going to make the difference. I don't underestimate him or think or be dismissal of him. He's an okay fighter, Potentially he could do a few things, but I feel like I'm all wrong for him. It's too early for him, and I have what it takes to really put a stamp on it. But I just have to show that on Friday.
How much have you improved since the first fight?
Immensely. Like I said, it's just been a lot of experiences for me. That first of all, the fight itself was the first thing, because I think people don't understand how much boxing is a mental thing. And I think for me, the first fight itself brought me on. Then the sparring I've had after that with Hergovig and whatnot brought me on further. By the time I came back, I feel like I've just been a different man since. And the way I approach this fight now, it's just showing what I'm about.
We're moments away from the main event press conference. Let's remind, if anyone needed reminding, what that main event is. Josh Kelly against Troy Williamson for the Super-Welterweight British Championship, live and free on Channel 5 this Friday from 9 p.m. It's a super fight. It's a fight that all the British, all the British fans have been asking about it. You're lucky enough to be on the bill, to be on the card. Talk to me a little bit about this fight, and I'm going to ask you a prediction in a moment.
Go ahead.
Break it down a little bit first, though.
Well, I think the matchup is intriguing. First of all, both guys are superstars in their own right, great boxers besides, and the matchup is, I guess, the original come forward, strong, tough guy against the skillful, pretty boy. And I think, it's a very intriguing matchup. Even me, myself, I'm fighting on the undercard, but I'm also looking forward to being a part of it and watching it myself. Yeah, it's going to be a really good fight, man.
Tell me a little bit about who could win. Who, if you were to back one corner, which one would it be?
I think it's really tough. Both of them are genuine 50-50 fights. I would edge. It's hard, honestly. I can't even see because I think it depends on what fighter turns up. Because I feel like everyone's underestimating Kelly because of that Venetian loss, but I feel like he has a lot in the locker, and I feel like he's also come on from that experience. But Williamson as well, he's Detroitian. We know what he brings, and he's proven it time and time again that he can stay in the trenches. So I would probably edge Williamson just on experience slightly. He's been through the tough fights already. But at the same time, if Kelly wins, it won't surprise me at all. It won't surprise me at all.
We saw earlier this week the two went face to face. Just lightweight Ant Crawler in the middle of them. Fair play to him for stepping in there. But he sat in the middle of them, and both of them, they stared each other down. They neither of them blinked, neither of them looked away, neither of them wanted to take a step back. They're going to be on the main stage again in a moment. Do you feel like Josh has come into this fight mentally stronger than maybe he has done in previous fights, given that he addressed that in the initial press conference as well?
1,000,000%. I think, like I said earlier, boxing is a crazy mental thing, and the Kelly that has come back from the Venetian loss is a maybe slightly less playful but more focused Kelly, a guy that's working hard, and I think that's what he will have to demonstrate and show in order to come through Williamson. If the glimpses he's been showing of the kind of Josh that he's becoming now, if he can push that through on Friday, I think that will be what will make the difference.
We're all but ready. to go up on that main stage. I think we are just waiting for the arrival of Josh Kelly. Before we do, let's talk about where the winners and the losers from Friday night go, Franklin, because there's been a lot spoken about the winner can maybe go on for this European level, maybe even start throwing in some world names 2 or 3 fights down the road. Where does the loser go from here?
I think the loser it's not the end of the road for a loser as such, but I think he will kind of mean a longer spell at the domestic scene. I don't think both guys are probably in a stage of their careers where they want to push on to bigger things, but it would mean, I think, that a loser might be in a situation where they'll have to hang around the domestic scene, maybe have another fight, potentially 2, before they can now kind of make the case to push on. But I don't think it will be the end of the road for either of them, because they're both such quality fighters with a pedigree already that they've already built as a professional, that they will definitely get another opportunity again.
Yeah, and the winner then, maybe the more desirable position, obviously, I guess.
Sure,
where do they go? Come Saturday morning, come as early as Saturday morning.
I think the winner of the world is Oyster. You put your stamp in this fight here, I think you'll be pushing on, like you said, to the Europeans, to the bigger stages, and from there, it's a very short step to the world level.
This whole fight night on Friday night is stacked, isn't it, from top to bottom? We saw yourself up on the top table a moment ago. All those local talent fighters around you. Lyndon Arthur, the return of the king. Very much on the. As a boxing fan, how much is there to look forward to this weekend? This Friday night. I
think this Friday is full of tasty fights. A lot of good matchups. Fighters who are looking to redeem themselves. Fighters who are looking to push on. And me and Jose are a good fight to watch. I think all these fights are fighters. Are fights that fans can really get their teeth sunk into. I think, honestly, it's just a great night on Friday, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
You're not allowed to say your own fight. Which one is going to be fight of the night?
Ooh, tough. Tough. I just feel like it will be probably the main event. I feel like Williamson and Kelly have more opportunities to make it a potential fight of the year contender. I think both of them will really be looking to stamp their authority. And it'll be great, man, honestly. I think that will probably be fight of the night, if outside of myself, of course.
Fight of the night, potentially fight of the year. Franklin Ignatius, thank you very much for joining us. We are moments away from going live up at the top table. Josh Kelly and Troy Williamson have taken the seats up there. Adam Booth also has another little friend up on the top table. We'll make it a mission today to find out who that little fella is there with him. Could be a guy, could be a girl, dog. I don't know. It's not my area of expertise.
Looks like a cutie though, but I couldn't tell myself.
It's not my area of expertise. But just as we see Josh Kelly's trainer Adam Booth taking his seat, we've already got Aaron Bickerstaff, Troy Williamson up there along with Carla Sauerland. The mediator Joe Price taking his seat. So any moment now, we're going to throw to Joe Price.
Troy Williamson, it really needs no introduction at this point. It's something that's split probably northeast families down the middle. It's considered to be a very 50-50 fight. Obviously one side will think one thing and one side will think another. It's live and free on Channel 5, of course. It's obviously estimated to have huge amount of eyes watching it for very good reason. Calla, let's start with you. It's probably the most recent northeast derby that in modern memory there's not been one like this.
I mean, good afternoon again. Normally the promoter talk is about how big this is and how bad this is and how great this is and whatever, but this one doesn't really need much selling. It's about -10 outside, and this ring on Saturday night and this arena on Saturday night is going to resemble the Caribbean. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to be involved in such a show. I've got to be honest, it's in 20-something years of doing boxing, the British title's one that I haven't done much of, more internationally with world titles, European titles. But I've quickly fallen in love with this British title this year because of the matches it makes and the fights it throws up. It does our matchmaker's job for us, and this is creme de la creme. And the fact that we've got it here in the northeast, and I'm aware that it's in Newcastle and Sunderland and there's sensitivities around it, but it is the North East, and that the whole nation, when I say the whole nation, I mean the whole boxing nation, we know the numbers we did last Friday. We expect over 2 million to be watching on Friday night. That's a pretty special thing for such an amazing sporting city. And the fact that we've got two gladiators who are going to go absolutely gung-ho at it, obviously firmly in the Josh corner, but one looks at it as a fan, as the public, as the media, this is an advertisement for our sport second to none. And it's an advertisement, and that's live and free on Channel 5, Friday night. What more can I say than that?
And we move over to Aaron Bickerstaff, who's here on behalf of Probellum, obviously in Troy's corner, Troy's promoters. Aaron, how do you see this fight going for your man Troy? You know, do you think this will be his toughest test, facing obviously a talented fighter like Josh Kelly?
Yeah, look, Josh is I think it's been said by everyone, Josh is an unbelievable talent. You know, I enjoyed watching him a lot coming through. He's came up against it with David Avanesian. You know, it was a big step up for him. You know, I don't think we're underestimating Josh at all. But it just, you know, seeing Troy, seeing his last couple of fights, his career development, he's used to going into the trenches. He's used to taking people down into dark waters, and he's proven time and time again what he can do. We have no doubt that on Friday night we'll come away with the belt and move on to bigger and better things, you know.
And someone that will obviously have a very well-informed opinion of that is the man sat to my right, Mr. Adam Booth. Delighted to obviously be joined by you, Adam, sadly without the dog, but you'll do just fine. And it's one of them things where obviously you've had huge domestic scraps that you've, you know, overseen fighters getting involved with. Do you think this is up there, with some of the biggest ones and arguably one of the toughest ones you've been involved with?
I mean, what I've been involved in is irrelevant, but to a certain extent. But it's not about necessarily about the size. You know, there's not 70,000 people, but what you have is, as far as I can remember, one of the best matchups, certainly domestically, that I've been involved in. Troy Williamson, excellent amateur, unbeaten pro, and has proven what he can do. And so we're not under no disillusions. We know exactly what Troy Williamson is. And we're also supremely confident that people haven't seen what Josh Kelly is yet. And it's a fascinating matchup. I don't think there's been a better matchup this year in British boxing. I really don't. And Channel 5 and the millions of viewers that are going to watch it free to air are going to have a great night of entertainment. I think there's going to be a spectacular performance, incredible atmosphere. And as someone that has a lot of experience in big events, I am just as excited about this as I ever have been for anything. So I'm just looking forward to it.
I mean, it's obviously very difficult to give too much away in regards to what you've been training on and preparations. But what have you seen from Josh that validates all the confidence that you have in him to win this fight?
I'm keep my mouth shut on that one, because it doesn't matter what I've said in the past, doesn't matter what I say now. I firmly believe in what I know and what I've seen, and ask me that same question after the fight.
Thank you very much. And as Adam alluded to before, obviously Troy Williamson, the champion coming into this one, undefeated, a tremendous amateur and professional record. He claimed the title, spectacular knockout in that fight against Ted Cheeseman. Troy, I want to start with how you're feeling. You know, everything's gone in regards to your preparations. You know, it's a huge night for you and huge night for the North East.
Yeah, preparation's gone great. I've been in the gym for a long time, 11 weeks, working hard and smart, and I'm ready to rock and roll on Friday night.
And I mean, I know this has perhaps been mentioned more than once, the term demolition job that you said what you planned to do to Josh Kelly on fight night. Just how do you plan on making light work of him?
To be honest with you, what I need to do is just turn up and perform. The hard work's being done. I'm performing well in the gym. I'm firing on all cylinders, hitting numbers in my S&C and on all my runs. obviously I'm in a great position mentally and physically, and you're going to see on Friday night.
And you've also said about respecting, obviously, Josh's pedigree. You know, he's a tremendous fighter and everything that he's achieved up until this point. But what do you think that Josh lacks that you have that is going to be the difference?
I've said it before, obviously I don't need to say it again. Probably all seen that I've said that. I believe he lacks heart. I think it's bred in people, and for one thing for certain, it's bred in me, for where I've been brought up and from where I'm from. We're going to see on Friday night if Josh has got it, because I'm going to take him to deep waters, like I said, and he's in for a tough night.
And again, it comes down to envisioning how you've seen this fight playing out. You know, just describe when you've closed your eyes and looked at this. How have you seen it going? You said he hasn't got heart. Does that mean you want to take him to the deep rounds, or do you think he doesn't have heart in the sense where you hurt him early and you can put him out? You know, just describe what you've seen in regards to this fight.
Yeah, I'm not going in there to try and take him out. Like a lot of people underestimate my boxing skills. Like I box for Team GB all around the world. I box some elite amateurs all around the world, so don't underestimate my boxing. I can box, and don't think I can't outbox Josh Kelly on the night.
Josh, will come over to you, the challenger in this one. He says that don't underestimate his boxing, and somewhat don't overestimate yours. What do you think of that?
Well, yeah. I'd like to see that on the night, 100%. 100%. I'll say that again. I'd like to see that on the night. I'd like to see Troy come and try and box us. That would be good. I think it'd be a silly man to do that, but yeah, I think it's going to go how I want it to go on the night. So I cannot wait to get lace them boots on, put them gloves on, get dancing in that ring.
And obviously, it's the pressure will be. Well, I should ask really, is the pressure on yourself here as the challenger with a great reputation, or is the challenge equally on a man with a reputation and the belt to lose? You know, who's really got the most to lose in this one?
I believe all the pressure is on Troy. Like I've operated at high levels. Like I boxed in Madison Square Gardens, boxed at high levels, boxed ex-world champions. So we move quick. And I know what these events are like. I know what the pressure's like. So I believe all the pressure's on this man, and I feel when he's going to walk down that ring, he's going to feel it on Friday night.
And I think, you know, it's a huge opportunity for one of you to almost reign supreme in the Northeast, you know, and be that poster boy for this. Not just the division, but the area in itself. But why are you so confident that it will be you?
If you look at Troy and look at me, there's things I do better than Troy. I mean, I'll ask Troy one question. If it gets to the 6th round, if it goes that far on your behalf, bro, when I've still got the gas tank, I'm still firing on all cylinders, and when I'm still boxing unbelievably, what you going to do then from round 6 on?
Ask Ted Cheeseman.
That's the answer there. It's like there's no intellectual answer coming back.
Ted Cheeseman said the same thing.
All right, bro. Listen, we'll leave that there. I think one sandwich short of a picnic just sums it up, really. Okay, now.
And yeah, this was already being described as a Northeast rivalry that's getting a little bit spicier, obviously, as we're sat here. Why do you think people are so invested in this fight? You know, you'll have your own fans, Troy will have his. Personally, why do you think people are going to be tuning in for this one?
Stylistically, it's a great matchup. Troy comes forward, tries to fight our box. So stylistically, it makes for good telly, and it's always been down. Like when you go and watch fights, you always either you like the fighter or you like the boxer. So it's one of them. So it's a great stylistic matchup, and I think that's why everyone's tuning in.
And Troy, to you, do you think this is obviously going to be enticing for the fans because of that stylistic matchup, or do you think there's going to be some bad blood that's been brewing now and they need to tune in to see that settled?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say it's bad blood. I think everyone's tuning in to see me, though. I'll ask Josh one thing. How many tickets have you sold, Josh?
What I've only sold a handful. I hope these are the guys who's coming here. These are the guys who's coming here and my thing.
Nobody wants,
and what I'll do is
to buy tickets off Josh. Josh can't
it's
tell
a
me-
popularity
Josh
contest
has
for
got no
Troy.
fans.
It's how much he's liked.
You've
It's
got
how
no-
much he's liked online. That's what's for you, isn't it? It's the popularity contest, isn't it? Look, what is it? How much tickets you sell and how much you liked? That's it, isn't it? I don't need to be like, bro, I'm me. I'll do me. And if anyone likes it, I respect that.
Okay, mate.
What's that?
Okay, mate.
And Josh, I'll put this.
Let me ask you a question to both gentlemen gladiators. We talk about the scene Saturday night. Obviously, the eyes of the boxing nation on you. It's a fight that's much awaited, but it's also a fight where you know the atmosphere is going to be red hot. Josh, you've fought on big shows before, tried a little bit less, but at the same time, a big following up here.
I was a little bit less. I've fought on big shows and I've delivered every single time.
Madison Square Gardens. Madison Square Gardens, mate. Doesn't get any bigger than that. Does not get any bigger than that.
Every time you've stepped up,
Ex-world
you've failed.
champions
Every time
doesn't
you've stepped
never
up
get
an
no
opponent,
better
you've
than
failed.
that. Doesn't get any bigger than that. You're stepping up to me, mate.
Answer
You know
that one question.
You
Every
know
time
you're
you've stepped
stepping to
up,
me.
you've failed.
How can I answer that when you're stepping to me?
I'll rephrase the question. Forget what I just said.
You can't talk to him. His head's empty. You can't talk to him.
No, you're the empty
head.
You're the empty head. You know what?
Right, third try. So, do you think that, and this is obviously there's some boxers also in the room, but for someone who hasn't been in the ring before, do you think that that stage of the thousands of fans, the red hot atmosphere in the venue, the millions watching it on television, do you think that gives the boxer that extra bit to go out, that extra mile? If like the fans are expecting it to, the neutrals are saying this will go to the championship rounds, is that something that you're thinking of, aware of, something that spurs you on, or something that you shut out?
Just take it in my stride. I know I can do the championship rounds, so be it. If it goes championship rounds, I'm there and I'm still strong. I'm still strong down the stretch.
And you, Josh, you looking forward to that?
He can't do the rounds.
What's that mean?
You can't do the rounds.
There's only an extra 2 what I did last time, so it's not that hard, lad. Don't worry about it. When I'm there, then the answers will be your questions will be answered when I'm still there. And then it's a question of what you're going to do.
So, are you expecting it to go to the championship rounds, or?
It could do, mate. It could go. Mate, this fight it could go anywhere I want it to go, but it goes to championship rounds. I'm more than ready. He knows that anyway, so.
You, Troy, you expecting it to go championship rounds, deep waters?
Well, I'm going to take him to deep waters. That's for sure.
Backstrokes, just backstrokes.
Josh, I guess the final question from me really was one that I presented to Troy before. You know, you close your eyes and you see how this fight pans out. You know, Troy said that it's going to be deep waters, whether that's hurting you in a certain amount of rounds or dragging you to places you don't want to go. How have you envisioned this one? Is this about you outboxing him? Are you prepared to hurt him? You know, how do you make him dance your dance?
I've seen Troy hurt in my mind a lot of times. I've seen him hurt, and obviously after the fight, God willing, we both go home safe and healthy and happy, but I've seen him hurt.
And Cal, I'll go back to you for sort of a final statement on just how big this fight is going to be come Friday night.
Still haven't really got an answer to my question from either, but I'll leave that now. We'll see what Friday night brings. But yeah, look, like I said at the beginning, we don't need to sell this too much. It's not only a British title. I believe it's a fight for your right fight. The winner goes on to challenge for world honours. And the loser, I don't think it's one of those fights where it's the end, but it's obviously a much longer road back, and it makes it that much harder to lose on such a stage. And that was a little bit what I was getting to in my question, was it's different losing in a small venue off TV than losing on a big platform in front of millions of viewers, especially when it's the bragging rights of the North East at stake as well on the side of it. But yeah, I mean, it's all, so from that point of view, there's a hell of a lot on the line. And I think I haven't been, like Adam said, I think this is the British matchup of the year, and looking forward to enjoying it ringside.
And that concludes the main card and press conference there. Just to let you know again, limited tickets are available at wassermanboxing.com, and we'll be live on Channel 5 from 9 p.m. We're just going to move these tables down now, and then we'll get a head-to-head for the two fighters involved in the main card. Thank you.
His isn't working. He's got this thing.
What, he needs his
He's
thing
got his
switching?
output. He's got his output thing on the camera. Do you want the cameraman out? Actually, yeah, he's got the output thing. He's, oh, there we go. Yeah, I've changed it. We've got a better angle there. Just shove that guy in.
Shot in the head was our camera.
I don't know.
Well, there was much talking up on the stage today as Josh Kelly and Troy Williamson faced off at the final press conference ahead of the British Super-Welterweight clash this Friday, live and free from 9 p.m. on Channel 5, joined by the current champion. Hopes to be hearing and still on Friday night. Troy, what was it like up there?
You are going to be hearing and still, put it that way. Yeah, it was exciting. It's a boring part, to be fair. I'm sick of waiting. I just want to fight now.
I know that there's been a lot said before this fight that you guys know each other and you go back and everything else, but now you're in the middle of this fight campaign. I sense there's genuine animosity. You guys, listen, if you could bring the fight forward to right now, you'd both probably take it.
Yeah, therefore, obviously, I just want, like I said, I just want to fight. So it's just a waiting game now, counting down the days, and we're not far away.
What did you see in him when you looked into each other's face, when you looked into the whites of each other's eyes, so to speak? What did you see from one another?
I just seen his eyes go from one side to the other side, to the other side, to the other side. Just can't keep eye contact, and not keeping eye contact with somebody. It's I find a big thing. So yeah, I can see a weakness there, and I'm going to exploit him on the night.
Would you say you're more confident now than you were maybe before this press conference, given that you saw the eye-to-eye dancing thing?
Yeah, like you said, I'm always confident throughout. But yeah, the confidence is there, and that just comes from a lot of hard work and dedication and what I put in.
When you see Josh Kelly walking around, what I mean, he's over there doing interviews now. When you see him walking around, what feelings do you have inside you, knowing that you've got such a big clash on Friday night?
Nothing whatsoever. It's part of parcel. It happens every single fight. So, yeah, nothing really. I just can't wait to put a good performance on him and smash him up.
You've guaranteed us that we're going to hear and still on Saturday. I know that the question will be asked of you about what happens next. Are you allowing yourself to even think about that, given that you're so sure about hearing and still, but then again taking the reality of the task in front of you? Are you allowing yourself to think of beyond Friday night?
Obviously my full focus is on Josh, but yeah, obviously in the back of my mind, obviously I do see myself in the future, and obviously I take care of him, and that just elevates me one step closer to my dream in becoming a world champion.
What happens now, Troy? What happens in between now and Friday night? I know we have a weigh-in, which we'll see you, but between now and then almost, do you go back to the hotel room, put your feet up? Do you go out and do some more training? What happens in between now and then?
Obviously I need to travel home, get all my bags, and then I'll be coming back up to the hotel and chilling out for the night. Make way tomorrow, and then fight night Friday.
Well, it is Fight Night Friday. We're really looking forward to this one. Would you say that this is maybe the biggest fight in the history of the North East, certainly in recent history?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And all the fans that you expect, you're going to put on a show for?
1,000,000%. I've sold a lot of tickets. I'm really humbled for the support that I've got. The following keeps growing and growing. And I'm really over the moon and can't wait to put a demolition job on him for all of them that are paying their hard-earned money to come watch me.
Just before I let you go, because we're going to bring Josh up here any moment, does it surprise you that other fighters and people in the media that we speak to, and anyone who has an interest in this fight, 90% of them, they don't have a direct answer straight away of who wins? It's oh, well, this could happen or that could happen. Does that surprise you that most people see this as a 50-50?
No, because it's Josh. He's an ex-Olympian. He's a great fighter, and he's been involved in some good fights. He's only been beaten off one opponent in David Avnishin, and he's fighting Terence Crawford next, so he's elite. So I can see why people are saying it's 50-50, but it all comes on the night, and I'm going to show why I'm levels above him.
Well, Troy, thank you very much. We'll let you go back and enjoy that feet up time in between now and the weigh-in.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. We'll let you run on. Thank you, Troy Williamson. So we are about 48 hours away, just a bit more from Fight Night beginning on Channel 5 on Friday. British Super-Welterweight title clash between two of the hottest prospects in British boxing. Troy Williamson, the defending champion, will take on with the pretty boy Josh Kelly, one of the most decorated amateurs in the game, an Olympian, as Troy was bringing up there a moment ago. Up on the up on the top table just a few moments ago, there was words said back and forth between Josh Kelly and Troy Williamson. They tried to poke fun at one another. They tried to get under each other's skin. Neither really wanted to give anything away. But when we saw the two of them go face to face, when we saw the two of them look into each other's eyes, we saw that neither one of them wanted to step away. But Troy Williamson was saying Josh wouldn't really look at him. He wouldn't really stand still. He wouldn't really take into account that face-to-face contact. Maybe that's a giveaway of something that will happen on Friday night. Ahead of that fight, though, we do have the stacked undercard that we saw earlier on today. We saw the top fighters up there. Jose Stewart takes on Franklin Ignatius. He's going to be kicking off a heavyweight rematch. But the promoter, the man to my left joining me here, is Kalle Sauerland. And Kalle, what a fight we've got in prospect.
Which one are we talking about?
As Nissa sneaks past us there, giving a little thumbs up to the camera. What a fight we've got in prospect here for the British Super-Welterweight title. It is one of the most spoke about fights in British boxing. There's so much on the line here.
It's actually live on ESPN Latin America as well, and you know a lot of other different countries. So it's a fight that's it's a British title fight, but for me it's on world level, and like I said, it's very much a fight for your right fight. You know, the winner goes on to world honours, and I don't think it's the end for the loser. I think they're both young guys, but it's a long way back for sure.
We'll break the fight down in just a moment. We can actually bring Josh Kelly in.
Josh is coming in. Josh is coming in. The main man is coming in. Come in the middle.
Microphone, and I'm going to start first of all, Josh, by saying I hope you're well. This is some nice cut. You're not getting chilly up here with a coat like this one.
It's almost as long as my one. I've got one that goes to back there.
You've got to remember, I've lived up here all my life. I've only lived down south for a few years.
Fair play. Listen, I'm going to...
Southern fairies like me, when I come up here, I'm like a popsicle.
Well, that's why I got the sleeping bag for you. I got the sleeping bag for you.
You'll see mine in a minute. I'll tell you something. It's very similar.
I'll be asking you to borrow that in a few moments' time. Josh, I'm going to start, apologies, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, because we just had Troy Williamson on, and he said, when you were at the face-to-face just a moment ago, he said, Josh wouldn't look at me properly. He doesn't want to be there. He was trying to look away from it. He didn't want to be there. What was your instant reaction? I mean, I think I can pick it up just from that, but what's your reaction to that?
Just go and have a look. Just go and have a look and see where the eyes are. Eyes are eyes. Like what else? I don't know. He's trying to find things. I think he's making things up in his head. That's a bit delusional. That's the first time I've called him that. That's delusional. That is. He knows I'm there. I'm in his face, so that's delusional. That, bro. But yeah, you can say what he wants about that. I was there.
You seem very calm. You seem very relaxed. I mean, you always do in fight weeks, but this is a much bigger fight. This is a huge fight. But you seem as cool and calm as you like.
It's big as you want to make it. The thing is, like when I said I went and boxed in Madison Square Gardens, I went and boxed the European title, I went and boxed ex-world champions. That's proper pressure there. This is a good British title fight. So is the pressure more on his side than mine? It's not. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to go out there, enjoy it, do what I do best, and put a show on.
Kalle, just break this fight down a little bit for us. Josh has just listed some of the accomplishments we've seen so far.
Statement time for Josh. That's how I see it. I think it's time to stick some words down people's throats Friday night. I was just asked in an interview a second ago, he says, Josh isn't getting enough credit for taking this fight and whatever. And I've said before, Josh was jumping at the bit for this fight, but we were talking about all sorts of other fights, world title fights we're discussing already for next year and things. Not looking past this at all, but the problem with Josh is keeping him almost on the leash, because he wants to. He's very aggressive in his thinking. It's weird saying this, you standing next to me. It's a bit odd, isn't it? It's a bit bizarre that. But you asked a question.
Yeah.
And I think Friday night is exactly the right moment in front of a nationwide audience, live on Channel 5, from the Northeast, to stick those words right down people's throats in the way that Josh can do best. He's the performer, he's the athlete, he's the gladiator.
You mentioned the platform there. Last week, on the very same platform, we saw almost 1.9 million people tune in. This is a huge stage, a huge platform, and with all due respect to that card, this is a bigger fight. This is a huge occasion. You know the eyeballs are going to be on the screens this Friday. Like Kalle says, is this the opportunity now for you to put words back to people and just show what the pretty boy is all about on a phenomenally huge stage?
Listen, like Kalle said, and he said it there, the words will be put into people's mouths and rammed down their throat, and whatever you want to do with them, they can be. But for me, go out, enjoy myself, put a show on, and that's when you see the real Josh Kelly. That's when you see me develop, and that's when you see is everything what's being getting said about this and this and this in the gym. You'll see it on fight night, and you'll see his performing. You go, Jesus,
it's a touch of class, by the way, that he does it that way and doesn't name certain people and whatever. One thing to clarify up there, what I was referring to the pressure is you can't compare pressures of. Josh has been under much bigger pressure.
Yeah.
This is, and that part I never got a clear answer. But Troy, I know I understand the Cheeseman fight, but he was apparently the underdog. I was told in that fight before that fight. So that's not real pressure, is it? Whereas Josh was made to be the flag bearer of the next generation of Sky at the time.
Yeah.
And pushed that way by the network, which isn't a fault of the network, by the way. That's why networks work. It's entertainment broadcasting. So he's been there, whereas I feel that Troy hasn't been there. That was, and I didn't quite get the clearest of answers up there. But as I said, we're all chit-chatting now. The nice thing is it's 48 hours to go, even, a little bit over, 52 hours to go, and that's it, so all the pressure to...
You wouldn't know it to speak to him. I mean, look at it.
Listen, it's a different person last time I come in a fight, like in previous fight weeks, etc. Not necessarily with you, but in previous campaigns.
But you have been through, I mean, you're a young man, I know, but you have been through the mill. Already in your career, if you think about the way you've been shot up from the amateurs through the system at the beginning of your career, it was very fast track.
Even breaking out through the Olympics incoming, that's a lot of pressure there to deal with that. That's huge, and people confidence, eyes on you straight away on the telly as soon as you box, as soon as you fight. So it's like. Now I feel like that's lifted off and I'm just floating.
One question that I asked Troy, and I'll put to both of you now. I'm going to start with yourself, Josh. One question that I asked Troy a moment ago, given that he's as confident as you are in the pre-match, if you like, in the build-up, he's saying that he's going to win. There's no doubt in his mind. So I said to him, how does it make him feel that a lot of the boxers, a lot of the media, a lot of the people within the industry that we speak to, they say it's a close fight, it's a 50-50, this could happen, or that could happen. How does that make you feel, given that you're so confident and you know what you can bring to the table, when you hear other people say it's a close fight?
Doesn't matter to me. Does not matter to me. I've got the way I need to box him. Yeah, the job I need to do. I got plan A, B, C, D. It doesn't matter to me. People's opinions. You can't listen to people's opinions, or you'll be constantly looking at your phone 24/7 and tuning into this, and this, and this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to believe what you believe, and believe what your team believe, and I know through experience and hard work what I believe. So listen, opinions are not. Opinions are like, what do they say?
Yeah.
Everyone's got
Backsides.
one. Yeah, everyone's got one. Man.
Well, listen, Josh, I'll let you run on because I know you've got a little bit of media to speak to and some chilling out before fight night. But we'll see you at the weigh-in tomorrow.
Lovely.
Everything's good. We look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you. Cheers, lads.
Thank you, sir. Calla, I just want to close with that question with yourself. Should this fight be billed as a 50-50?
It's not down to me, is it? Did I say 50-50?
No, not yourself, but when we speak to other fighters,
people are generally talking about it as a 50-50 fight. I mean, it's a well-matched fight. I do make Josh the favourite, and I make him the favourite on the basis of that experience, I guess. Yeah, and I know that Troy would, if he was standing there now, would disagree with me. But I also think that Josh is superior in a lot of different skill sets. At the same time, you want to watch sport where they turn up to win.
It's not predictable.
That's why people tune in. And I think we're going to get a great fight. I'm obviously in my man's corner, but not literally. That will be Adam Booth, by the way. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch for us as the spectators and the fans. They're in for a real treat.
Friday night, 9 o'clock, live and free on Channel 5. You are in for a real treat. A huge undercard precedes one of the fights of the year, British Super-Welterweight title action. Troy Williamson, Josh Kelly, Calla Sauerland. We will see you at the weigh-in tomorrow and then on Friday night. Fight night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. We'll let you cut the action on Friday.